Good evening, William. My name is Liu Junhan and my register number is 01TTK22F105P. Now I will like to ask you a few questions about the computer. Yeah. The first
Okay.
question is, do you know what is the memory in the computer?
I think the memory is mean a component that store data or saving data.
Okay. The second question is, do you know what is the input in computer?
I think output is display data from computer and input is enter data to computer.
Okay. The third question is, can you give a few examples of output or input component in computer?
Output is printer, then input is keyboard.
Okay, the fourth question is, can you explain RAM and ROM?
RAM is that they can store data in computer and when we want to read the data quickly. And ROM is they can store or save the data forever in computer.
Okay, the last question is, what are you understand about the
I think USB is extra component that they can store data. I think USB is the same like hard disk. If you do not want the files or other data saved in computer, you can save it in USB.
Okay, thank you, William, for interview my question.
Oh, you're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Liu Junhan and my register number is 01TTK22F105T. Today, I will like to explain about the I/O unit in a memory system. First, there are two ways that computer bus can be used to communicate with memory as well as I/O. They have isolated I/O and memory mapped I/O. First, isolated I/O is only use one common bus for both memory and I/O but has separate control line. Second is common bus is used for both memory and I/O. Memory transfer and I/O transfer is made through separate read and write line. I/O read and I/O write control line are enabled during an I/O transfer of isolated I/O. The second is memory mapped I/O. Memory mapped I/O is only use one common bus for memory and I/O with common control line. Memory mapped I/O have the same address space is used for both memory and I/O. They are not specific I/O instruction. They are only allow a computer use same instruction for both I/O transfer and memory transfer. Memory mapped I/O is only one set of read or write control signal. The diagram of memory mapped I/O about the difference of isolated I/O and memory mapped I/O. First, isolated I/O have a dedicated instruction for I/O. They have a separate address space for I/O device. They are different input and output. They are separate read and write control line. Memory mapped I/O is using instruction set to perform memory access and I/O operation. I/O device and memory component in memory mapped I/O located in same memory place. They are single set of read and write control line. There are no specific input and output. Is the diagram of I/O interface of an input, diagram of I/O interface for an output. Thank you for listening.
My name is Shan Ziao and my matrix number is 01TTK22F1060. Good evening, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Lee Jun.
Okay. My friends here he is from the course DE, also known as Department of Electronic and Electrical Engineering. And the most important fact is that he also very interested in computer. So for the first question is, do you know the function of memory in computer?
The computer memory is a device that is used to store data or programs on a temporary or permanent basis or for use in an electronic digital computer.
Okay, thank you. And for the second question is, can you explain the difference between volatile and non-volatile memory and provide example for each?
Volatile memory loses its data when the power is off, for example, RAM, random access memory, while non-volatile memory retains data even when the power is off, for example, ROM, read-only memory.
Okay, thank you. And for the third question is, do you know the difference between RAM and HDD?
Both RAM and HDD are types of computer memory. RAM, also known as random access memory, is used to store computer programs and data that the CPU needs in real time. RAM data is volatile and is erased once the computer is switched off. HDD, known as hard disk drive, has permanent storage and it is used to store user-specific data and operating system files.
Okay, thank you. And for the fourth question is, what is the function of an input unit such as mouse and keyboard?
An input device, such as keyboard or mouse, is to send information to a computer system. A mouse is pointing device. This means that users can control the pointer on the computer display by using it.
Okay,
Keyboard is one of the most important input device. You can use it to input data into a computer or other electronic device.
okay, thank you. And for the fifth question is, do you know the function of output units such as printer and monitor?
Output device allow users to better interact with computer equipment. Printer takes an image from a computer device and display it on a paper document. Monitor is a display device that users often pair with desktop computers. A monitor connects to the desktop computer to provide user with visual output.
Okay, for the final question is, what do you understand about USB?
USB, which stands for Universal Serial Bus, is a widely used standard for connecting and transferring data between electronic devices. For example, data transfer and power delivery to and from hosts such as personal computers to and from peripheral devices like display keyboards.
Okay, thank you very much for joining me in this interview, and that's all. Thank you. My name is Chen Ziyao and my matrix number is 01TTK22F1068, and I will explain the USB port. So for the first, the definition, what a USB port is. A USB port is a standard cable connection interface for smartphone, computers, and other consumer electronic devices. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus, industry standard for short distance digital data communication. And the USB port allows USB device to be connected to each other with and transfer digital data over USB cables. They can also supply electric power across the cable to devices that need it. Both wired and wireless versions of the USB standard exist, although only the wired version involves USB port and cables. So what can we plug into a USB port? Many types of consumer electronic support USB interface. This type of equipment are most commonly used for computer networking, USB network adapters, USB broadband and cellular modems for internet access, or USB printers to be shared on a home network. For computer-to-computer file transfer without a network, USB drivers are also sometimes used to copy files between devices. And the next slide is key features of USB. So the first key feature is hot swapping. Hot swapping is one of the major characteristics of the USB. This functionality enables the removal or replacement of a device without requiring a system restart or interruption. And second key feature is direct current transfer. Another aspect of USB is the usage of direct current (DC). Several devices are connected to a DC current through a USB power connection but do not communicate data. Notable examples include USB speakers, small refrigerators, keyboard lamps, and even USB-based device chargers. And there are many types of USB. So for this one, for the first one, the USB 2.0, the logo is like this, the high-speed USB. This logo is referred to high-speed USB, and for the USB cable for A female, the cable is look like this, and A male is like this. B male is this, micro B male, mini A, mini B, and mini 4 pin. And for the USB 3.0, this logo got the SS at the front. It means super speed USB, and the logo is like this: A female, A male, B male, micro B male. And next, for the cable types, the first USB is 1.1, also known as full speed USB, and the first USB don't have a logo, and the year introduced is 1998, and the connector type is USB-A and USB-B, and its max data transfer speed is 12 megabits per second, and its cable length is 3 meters. And for the second USB 2.0, is also known as high-speed USB, and its logo is this. This high-speed USB, and it is introduced in years 2000, and its connector types is USB-A, USB-B, USB micro A, USB-B micro B, USB mini A, USB mini B, and USB-C. And its max data transfer speed is 480 megabits per second, and its cable length is 5 meters. And third one is USB 3.2 generation 1, and also known as USB 3.0, USB 3.1 generation 1 super speed. And for the first generation, the super speed logo is a 5 at the back, and is introduced in 2008 and 2013 for the USB 3.1, and the connector types is USB-A, USB-B, USB micro B, USB-C, and its max data transfer speed is 5 gigabits per second, and its cable length is 3 meters. And for the generation 2, also known as USB 3.1, USB 3.1 Gen 2 super speed plus super speed 10 gigabits per second, and the logo is from 5 become 10 at the back, and it's introduced in 2013, and its connector type is USB-A, USB-B, USB micro B, USB-C, and its max data transfer speed is 10 gigabits per second, and its cable length is also 3 meters. And for the next one is USB 3.2 Gen 2 times 2, and also known as super speed 20 gigabits per second, and its logo from 10 become 20, and it's introduced in 2017, and its connector type is USB-C, and its max data transfer speed is 20 gigabits per second, and its cable length is 3 meters. And for the next one is USB 4, also known as USB 4 20 gigabits per second, and the logo is become a 20 at the front, and is introduced in 2019, and its further type is USB-C, and its max data transfer speed is 20 gigabits per second, and its length is 0.8 meter. And the newest, the USB 4, USB, also known as USB 4, 40 gigabits per second, and the logo is becoming to the 40, and is also introduced in 2019, and is also known as USB-C. Its max data transfer speed is 40 gigabits per second, and its cable length is also 0.8 meter. So next one, the USB port got different color coding. So for the USB 1.0, the port is white color, and for USB 2.0, the port is black color. USB 3.1 is blue color. USB 3.1 is the color is teal, and for the port is yellow, red, and orange. It is for sleep or standby charging capable. So the importance of USB, the first one is use a single interface with easy scalability, and second is minimize space and power supply complexities, and the third one is does not need manual driver configuration, and the fourth is enable speed and reliability, and the final one is save cost. So after these years of evolution of USB, this is the 5 things that improve very much in these days, and that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Arif bin Abdul Razak. I'm 01.92F01058, and I'm gonna interview one of the person. Alright.
My name is Muhammad Anas bin Osman, and I'm agreed to answer your question.
Alright, the first question. Do you know the function of memory in a computer?
Yes, to store memory.
Okay, for the next question, do you know the difference between RAM and HDD?
Yes, RAM is for phone, while HDD for computer.
Okay, next question. What is the function of an input unit such as mouse or keyboard?
To input thing in computer. To input thing we want.
Okay, so that's a good answer. Next, do you know the function of an output unit such as printer or monitor?
To display data.
For the last question, what do you understand about USB?
USB, place to plug in your USB cable.
Alright, thank you for agreeing with my interview, Anas. Hello everyone, and right now I'm gonna explain about memory. Based about, if you watched my interview earlier, the person that I interview doesn't really understand what is a memory in a device, and he just said to store data, which is right, but I'm gonna give a much more what you can say to be accurate and much more detailed explanation of what is a memory. So memory can be said of a device can be said to have two, which is internal and external. So internal mean it was inside of the device, while external is outside of the device, which is basically it can be said in another device, external memory. The most famous example was hard disk. So hard disk was a device which is outside of the computer, which can be used as a memory, as a backup memory, which showed that it doesn't connected with the device. So it can be said that it was an external memory. So like I said, when there is external, of course there was internal memory, but in internal memory of a device we have two types of internal memory. We have RAM, random access memory, and also ROM, read only memory. So what is the difference between these two? So random access memory was volatile, while read only memory was non-volatile. what does it mean by volatile? So volatile mean that it can maintain data only while the device is powered. When the device is disconnected or turned off, the data will not be safe. Which mean that if there is something such as your device suddenly shut down on its own, or there is a blackout that cut your power source, the data will not be safe. So in random access memory, we have two types of random access memory, SRAM and DRAM. So SRAM, it can retain data bits in memory as long as power is being supplied, which is like I said, data bits. While DRAM memory typically is a memory that is typically used for data or program code that a processor need to function. So SRAM can be said need powered in order to retain the data bits. DRAM also need power, but DRAM was needed for the data and or a program code that the computer wanted to use in order to function. The processor of the device needed to function. So I have explained RAM. What does it mean by its volatile, SRAM and DRAM. So now we are gonna talk about ROM, read-only memory, which is non-volatile. So read-only memory, it can store important data and information that was essential to operate the computer system, and it doesn't need the device to have electrical in order to retain its data. Okay, so that's what I said. So we have so many examples. The most well-known one was EFROM, PROM, PROM, MROM, and EROM. Okay, so I hope my explanation is enough. So I'm gonna give it to the next person. Thank you very much.